Boy, where you been? It's TeeJay, the artist. You rockin' with me. You are the smartest, and we back with another video, man. Let's put in some work. Let's get these videos up. Let's record. Today, we finna learn the harsh truth about CAITLYN Clark. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller. Let's get into the video. Could you turn me up in the headphones a little bit?
Some athletes are good.
Waking up.
Some athletes are great. But very rarely does an athlete make such an impact that they begin to transcend their sport. You know, those times where an athlete is creating so much buzz that people who don't even follow the sport know their name. These athletes hardly ever come around. But when they do, you know something special is going on. Growing up, I used to skate, so of course I know who Tony Hawk is. But my mom also knows who Tony Hawk is.
And she
in a sport that tends to only retain the most die-hard fans, Usain Bolt was so incredible that he became a household name.
Yeah.
And it also helped that his name sounds like he was destined to be the fastest man of all time. Ask the average person to name any golfer, and they'll instantly say Tiger Woods, followed by no one else. There are very few athletes that reach this level of popularity, where they almost single-handedly lift their sport to new heights. And right now, women's basketball is home to an athlete that may just be next in line to be one of these transcendent athletes. CAITLYN Clark has only been in the WNBA for one season, and she is already the face of the league, drawing in more fans, viewers, money than ever before.
I still got A'ja Wilson as the face of the league, but I get what he's saying. She's bringing more eyes to. I get it. But it hasn't come without harsh criticism.
Some of it targeted at the disproportionate admiration and attention being given to just one player. And some of this criticism claiming she simply isn't nearly as dominant as we are led to believe. A product of the sports media machine pushing their golden child. Is CAITLYN Clark really as good as advertised? Or have her talents been overblown for the sake of the WNBA and the future of women's basketball?
And I want to personally thank CAITLYN Clark for lifting up our sport.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings. $200 and have a shot to a $5 NCAA basketball championship. Accomplish something completely unprecedented. Throughout the game, they drew in nearly 19 million viewers, a number that shattered every NCAA women's record, exceeded the viewership of any men's tournament game over the last half-decade, and even surpassed every single NBA Finals game since 2018. The game was a groundbreaking spectacle, with people who had never even tuned into a single basketball game in their life turning on the TVs to see who would be crowned champions. The majority of this flocking attributed to one player, CAITLYN Clark. Her unbelievable range and record-breaking performances proving to be must-watch TV. The true testament of her greatness and impact. All of the doubt and borderline detest that quick—
Oh, Lord. Yo, she was—
Testament of her greatness and impact. All of the—
She was— You don't know who that is? That's Shell Swoops. Swoops was— She was hating. Boy.
Doubt and borderline detest that quickly followed her ascent.
She was hating too. Diana Taurasi.
Some fans and players, both past and present, questioning if her talents would translate to the next level and if the horde of fans she inspired would follow.
Rookie of the year.
They did. Her WNBA debut attracted the most viewers of any WNBA game in the history of ESPN. Indiana's home game attendance jumped from an average of 4,000 fans last season to an average of over 17,000 fans this season, a more than 400% increase in just a single year. Transactions in the
Pay them girls
Fever's team store jumped over 700%, and WNBA viewership has skyrocketed to levels that even Clark's biggest advocates could not foresee.
And they gonna say, well, it wasn't CAITLYN Clark, it's because we already good.
Game 4 of last year's—
I wonder if they're gonna say Angel Reese's name. Gotta throw her in there.
NBA Finals drew in more viewers than any WNBA game over the last 2 decades, with 728,000 fans tuning in for the game, living up to the hype as one of the most anticipated games in the history of the league. This season, there were 22 regular season games that eclipsed that mark, 21 of them drawing in over 1 million viewers. Even crazier, 18 of those 22 games featured
CAITLYN
Clark and the Indiana Fever. But the most revealing evidence of the now dubbed CAITLYN Clark effect is the fact that WNBA viewership has nearly caught up with NBA viewership in 2024. On ESPN, NBA games averaged 1.56 million viewers this past season. WNBA games averaged 1.2 million viewers.
Okay, all right, WNBA
viewers, a number that was inconceivable just a couple years ago. But CAITLYN Clark's soaring popularity has been a point of contention for many fans of the WNBA, frustrated that in a league that is bursting with talent right now, it's all just being overlooked for the poster child of women's basketball.
I just said that.
Do CAITLYN's abilities actually warrant the hype? In just her rookie season, CAITLYN broke over a dozen league and franchise records, including the WNBA's single-season assist record. She said,
I will say this though, with some of these records, they do make records up. Like some of these records, you know what I'm saying? We don't be really paying attention to. Like, oh, she finna break this record. This is the first, you know what I'm saying? Because we're in a stat field, like, you know what I'm saying, era where they're always looking for something. I feel like you can do this with just about any player in the NBA or WNBA. It could be first player to 17 points on a Tuesday. Like I'm telling y'all, this is how they do those types of. So some of these records I do think they might have reached for, but something like this, rookie record for most 3 points in the season, like that's a record. That's a record. They got like the fastest player too. That's not a record. Fastest player too. That's not a record. You're just the fastest to get that. That's not a record. No, we don't do that. But most points scored or assisted. See that or assisted. That's not a record. Nobody paid attention to that. Y'all went and found that. Most points scored or assisted. Most points scored or assisted by a rookie. Like some of them, like, come on, man. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. There you go. I'll take that as a record. Fever franchise record for most consecutive 10-5-5, and that's 5 games. I don't think y'all look for that to put on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? Some records, legit. Other records, y'all went and searched for it. And could you tell me who the second player in the NBA history? No. Can you tell me the second player in Fever franchise history that got the most 10-5-5 games? Who's exactly? Although we don't know WNBA anyway, but come on. If that was an NBA player right there, I bet you wouldn't even know who was number 2. But because it's CAITLYN Clark, it's like she did all of this. It's like y'all search for it. Y'all made some of this up. See, I'll take this WNBA rookie record for most assists in the season. I'll take that. But 5 points for 5 games and get out of here, bro.
Set the record for the most assists in a single game. She received the most all-star votes of any player in WNBA history, set a new league record for double-doubles by a guard in a single season, scored the most points of any rookie in league history, and became the first rookie in WNBA history to put up a triple-double. Just this past week, it was announced that CAITLYN made first-team All-WNBA, which makes her the first rookie to make first-team All-League since Candace Parker did it 16 years ago.
Candace Parker also was the MVP of the league as a rookie. So, better not say that she had the best rookie season ever, as Candace Parker did.
Turns out those awe-inspiring performances from her days in college did, in fact, translate to the pros.
Yep, it took a minute though. It took after the USA break when they was going to play, you know what I'm saying, in the Olympics. It took that break for her to get her footing back, because after the WNBA, after the college women basketball season, they had like a month or 2 to get ready for the WNBA. Like, they set them girls up.
Because even against the best defense in the world, she is pretty much an offensive cheat code. Throughout her rookie season, with points and assists, Clark generated 45.2% of all points produced by the Indiana Fever. For perspective, she has a larger offensive load than every single player in the NBA last season, outside of Luka Doncic.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. This is even before Caitlyn Clark. I hate every time they try to put or compare WNBA with NBA. Let's not do that. Let's not. Come on now. Let's not do that. I understand what you're doing here, but don't do that. Don't, because when you put her on the list with NBA players, you're making it seem as if she's playing against NBA players. Those NBA Luka, he going up against everybody on that list. Take her off that list. Don't do that.
He's a rookie.
I always
but to really understand Caitlyn's unparalleled offensive prowess,
you can say she shoot like Steph, but don't say she can also win. You know, like, come on.
Here are the 200 most productive offensive seasons in WNBA history on a scale of points generated per game. Okay. And among these seasons, you'll find the greatest players in the league's history. Lisa Leslie, Tamika Catchings, Cheryl Swoops, Candace Parker, and Angel McCoughtry have tons of seasons littered throughout this chart. Climb towards the top and you'll find seasons from Asia Wilson and Cynthia Cooper. But with 4 of the top 10 most productive offensive seasons in WNBA history is Diana Taurasi, her 2006 campaign being the best of them all, producing 33.9 points per game.
How high she?
And then there's Caitlyn Clark.
I knew it.
Who is already the most potent offensive player in the history of the WNBA in her rookie season. Women's hoops has never seen a player like this.
Never.
And as absurd as her numbers are, how she puts up these numbers is just as incredible. Here are the players who attempt the longest three-pointers on average in the NBA.
Here we go again.
Last season, with Trae Young leading the league with the deepest three-point attempts with an average distance of 27.94 feet, and Damian Lillard and Stephen Curry just a shade closer. Despite it still being worth the same amount of points, the longest shooters in the NBA are stepping 4 feet outside the three-point line on their attempts. But even amongst the deepest shooters in the world, Caitlyn Clark is on her own island, because throughout the 2024 regular season, her average three-point distance was 28.1 feet, which is not only further than any player in the NBA and in the WNBA, it is a whopping 6 feet out from the WNBA three-point.
All right, impressive.
Point line. Has Caitlyn Clark been worth all the attention?
I can't say nothing about that, because why you shooting that far? Because y'all line not even back there anyway. She's still shooting from back there. All right.
And hype that has engulfed her over the last 2 years? Yeah, I'd say so. She didn't just have a successful rookie season. She had one of the best rookie seasons in recent basketball history. And this isn't just to her benefit, but the benefit of the entire WNBA. Because the seismic boost in the WNBA's popularity this season is not limited to those turning on the games to see what she'll do next. It can also be found in the fans actually showing up to the games. Looking at a chart of the average attendance of WNBA games since the inception of the league in 1997 will tell you a story of a league that has seen their fair share of good days and bad ones. In 1997, there were only 8 WNBA teams, all with really healthy attendance numbers due to the excitement of a new women's league. The league quickly expanded to 16 teams with a handful of teams emerging as fan favorites, like the Washington Mystics, the Phoenix Mercury, and the LA Sparks. But with a massive league expansion came a nearly equal retraction. Many teams folding along the way, such as the Soul, Fire, Miracle, and Sting. But it wasn't until COVID where the league's once steady fan base was wiped out. In 2020, there were no fans in attendance due to COVID protocols, and when play resumed in 2021, attendance was at an all-time low. A number that has been quickly rising in the few years since the pandemic, but has specifically seen an explosion this season, where for the first time, league attendance was higher than the WNBA's inaugural season. The Indiana
And then them girls be saying, yeah, well, we're good too. It's not about that, bro. We watching because Caitlyn, Angel Reese, all them rookies. That's why we watching.
Seeing the highest attendance.
With Caitlyn Bling. being the top.
Numbers in league history, nearly selling out every single home game. In a league where attracting the casual fan has been a seemingly insurmountable task, CAITLYN Clark has defied the odds by not only drawing in new fans for her and her team, but rising the tides for the entire league. This is completely unprecedented. At least in the WNBA it is. But there was a time when the NBA was facing similar struggles until a pair of players showed up and changed everything. After the success of the Celtics in the 1960s, the NBA's growth in popularity had come to a grinding halt in the 70s. The league had a rampant drug problem. An emerging rival league known as the ABA was picking up steam, and the NBA didn't really have a face to propel the league into the next decade. Jerry West was on his way out. Kareem was incredible, but he didn't really have the personality or charm that fans gravitate towards. Bill Walton's prime was cut short due to injuries, and many fans felt Julius Erving's introduction to the league after leaving the ABA in 1976 was a bit short of what was advertised. Many games were lucky to see even half capacity in attendance. Many teams were losing money. The NBA had fallen to a, quote, second-tier sport behind the NFL, MLB, and NHL. All of this culminating to the point where some networks infamously had NBA Finals games on tape delay in the late 70s due to low ratings. The league was in desperate need of a generational, transcendent superstar. Lucky for them, they got two. Coming off the most popular rivalry in the history of college basketball, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson propelled the league to new heights in the 80s, transforming the NBA from a second-rate league into a behemoth of sports and entertainment. A tandem that many longtime NBA fans say saved the NBA. Now, this isn't to say CAITLYN is the second coming of two of the greatest, most important figures in the history of basketball.
But she is.
But her impact on the sport at such an early stage in her career has reached a level reminiscent of some of the most influential athletes of all time relative to their sport. Because her popularity hasn't just affected her, it has had a cascading effect on players across the entire WNBA. Clark has essentially become the gateway to NBA fandom for many people. They come to witness the phenomenon that she is and end up staying once they see just how awesome the league and its players are. Players around the league are signing groundbreaking endorsement deals. Teams now have their own planes and new facilities. Many WNBA players have become household names, some of the most recognizable figures in sports today. There is real, genuine discourse about the games and the players right now that exists beyond the diehard fans. Conversations about the WNBA are now no longer about the legitimacy of the league itself, but instead about its players, records being broken, rivalries, the playoffs, title hopes, the draft, and up-and-coming prospects. It's understandable that CAITLYN's explosion in popularity has caused a lot of tension. Why is she getting all the attention when there's tons of great players around the league doing great things?
That's the argument.
The answer to that question? Well, it depends on who you ask. But there's no denying the widespread impact.
They also not ready for being talked about as like NBA players being talked about. Like if they have a bad game, they ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for them. Hey, she tried. They ain't ready for that.
Clark has made on the league in just a single season. For years, players in the WNBA pushed for people to give their talents and their skills and the product a chance. And in record numbers, people finally are. Now, what it took to get them to tune in may not be the most ideal circumstance, where for many casual fans, one player is overshadowing the vast majority of an entire league, but it's 1,000 steps in the right direction. Whether the CAITLYN Clark effect will have a lasting impact on the league and retain these new viewers and fans and continue to draw in more in the future is something that only time will tell. But one season in, and she is on a path to being one of the very few truly game-changing athletes of her generation. And yes, she's got all the talent to back it up.
On game. Harsh truth about CAITLYN Clark. Jimmy High Roller did it again. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Peace.